Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dream Career Talk Show. On this show, we bring industry experts from various domains who can share their knowledge, their experience, their failures, and their success so that it can inspire others to build their dream careers. You are born as a winner and can be a winner in life when you build a golden personality. Our today's guest, Umme Kulsum, teaches students how to build a golden personality. Umme Kulsum is an expert educationist, life coach and mentor, and a career counselor. Being an educationist with widespread experience of over 13 years, Umme Kulsum believes that success is a byproduct of hard work and smart work. She holds a master degree in English literature as well as psychology, several diplomas and certifications in guidance and counseling, in personality development and public speaking, neuro linguistic programs, and along with her innate passion for counseling and understanding that each child is unique and likewise developing tailor made counseling programs gives her an edge above the rest and has won numerous awards and accolades along this spectacular journey. A performance driven professional with an unparalleled work ethic and her ability to connect with people's hearts rather than minds attribute to her magnificent success and an admirable life coach and mentor. She has been awarded with Global Teachers Award by AKS Education and also recognized and awarded by the World Human Rights Council for guiding and mentoring underprivileged children on their educational journey. Ome Kulsum, I think it's been an amazing journey you have so far and what you are doing and inspiring a lot of people out there. So that is really nice to see and very happy to have you here. Welcome to Dream Career Talk Show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fatah Khan, to invite me on this show. And whenever we talk about career, that's a topic which is very close to my heart, extremely close to my heart.
Great, nice. And we already see that you have been doing some amazing work out there. You have already been recognized. And the way you are giving back to society also is amazing. Underprivileged kids that you have been supporting, where you have been recognized. So it's been an amazing journey, I think, for you, the way you have been doing things. But was it always like this? Or how did this journey start for you? How did you start looking at helping students and helping them to develop a golden personality there?
So I was very fortunate enough to have great people in my life. Actually, I think maybe that's something that the universe has blessed me with, and I understood it quite immediately. When I started getting those kind of downloads, that there's something I am in a specific domain, and that is not just by default because I was never a teacher by choice. I was a teacher by chance. So
Hmm.
I joined, I got into this industry in 2009, but I wasn't a teacher. I was working for the front office and doing administration work. And there I was sitting on the table and observing students. They would come to me, ask me queries, ask me questions, and I saw that there's something lacking. In spite of the fact that I worked for a dream school of MP, my school was titled by the CM of MP that it is one of the dream school and lavishly made on 27 acres of land. And of course, when we say dream school, it is like school for the best of the best of society. And yet what I could notice was, these kids weren't confident. What I could notice was, these kids weren't confident. Fatah, are we there? Are you
Yeah, yeah,
there?
we are still there. We are still there. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can hear you. So,
yeah, go ahead.
my journey starts from there, and then I somehow decided that this is not the place I need to work. I need to work with the students. So I managed to get myself on the other side of the table in the same organization, and then I started working right from the primary school to the high school. And being around the kids, best thing was reading them psychologically, emotionally. And I found that there were multiple things which needed to be addressed. We always feel like, as teachers, we always feel if the child is not performing or underperforming, probably it's because either the parents are not very careful about the student, or they're not very their parenting is defaulted, or we blame the child for not performing and not going to the grassroots level. So I started connecting with those little soul and understanding their psyche, and then going towards, if I say high school level, I realized that they are also equally emotionally filled with anxiety and so much to actually, that that very young age. So yeah, this was a kickstart for me to start working as a counselor. I did my counseling while I was working in school. So when I joined my school, I was in the front desk. Then I got into personality development and public speaking after doing a course. I offered them a project. I created a project, and I said, "Why don't we get life skills into the school?" Because when we were in school, we had our uncles, aunts, grandparents to condition us, to give us value, set principles, and set those loving boundaries for us. But today the kids suffer because they probably live in a nuclear family where both the parents are working. So who
Right.
addresses children's issues? Who talks about values? Who talks about principles? Who talks about morals? All we talk is burger, pizza, party, right?
Right.
So that got me into life skills. I joined some few other programs by Ramakrishna Mission, equipped myself with a lot of information, curated this program, and it worked miraculously. Then I did law of attraction myself, and I started teaching law of attraction to my students. And I saw suddenly things started changing. I saw those little kids, they became more confident. Kids who could not stand and express themselves now could come and debate with a teacher. So all of this brought me to that level where I finally felt, okay, now this is me, and I need to all my life dedicate to the students. After catering to the cream, I also realized that as a human being, you tend to feel that, okay, they are the ones who will get everything in life. Probably their parents are
Right.
going to give everything on a platter. But there is a segment in society which is left. Maybe
Right.
lack of awareness, maybe parents are not equipped, maybe financial drawbacks. So I also got into association. One of my friends suggested me that we run an NGO in Mumbai Powai, and there was a girl who topped that year, and she topped. But in spite of that, her father told, "Okay, I will not let you go in medicine." She got 96%, and this NGO, the Chaitali madam who runs this NGO, she actually persuaded the father that, your daughter is blessed, let her study medicine. And this father was adamant because he worked as a drain cleaner. He said, in
Mm.
our community, if I'll allow her to study so much, she'll not get a groom and my daughter won't get married. So they reached out to me and they said, Umi, can you do something with this idiot? Sorry, but they actually said that, can you do something with this person? I said, yes, why not? Then I told, what is the objective of marriage? It is, in the olden days, it was the objective was कि भाई, responsibility can be handed over to somebody else. But if your daughter can herself get, independent, what's stopping you? And you're getting scholarship, you're getting all the backup. And finally, after a lot of persuasion, he agreed. So that was my journey. And then I thought, ki, why not work with these kids as well? Why not direct them as well? So this is how it all happened.
That's nice and very inspiring, because I strongly believe that if you are able to change one life, it's like you are able to change the life of the entire universe, right? Because it starts with one life. So I think what you have done with people, especially with kids and those underprivileged ones, I think is amazing. Right? And you talk about this golden personality, right? So, what is golden personality according to you, and how can students develop that golden personality?
Golden personality, what is gold? It's a 24 karat gold, very precious. And to get anything precious, you have to understand the value of it. So when I talk about golden personality, I always talk about how does a gold get its luster. It only gets it when it is, when it is into the fire, and the more the fire, the better. Okay, so this is how a golden personality can emerge from each one of us, because it is there deep down. But we are all, we over the years we get coated with negativity, get coated with self doubt, we get coated with a lot of other things, and we get into so much of pleasure. We want to become, we get into our comfort zone. So when I talk about golden personality, it is just work on yourself, and you have to uncoat yourself layer by layer. So nobody gets a golden personality overnight. I did my personality development and public speaking crash course in Xavier's in Mumbai. And
Mhm.
there I realized, my instructor, Madam Dekuna, she said that, Ume, if you think that this is it, you did this course and this is it what you wanted, then it's not going to take you any further. And if you feel that this is not it, let me dive more deeper into the subject and work on yourself, and just don't preach people but walk your talk. So she actually, because teaching somebody is very easy, but doing it yourself, that's when you actually get to know that where are you, or what's
Right.
your level of understanding. And in golden personality, this is what I talk. Okay, you would take one part of your personality which you want to improve. It could be possibly, public speaking, that's one part. But in public speaking, what exactly do you want to go? So somebody says, okay, in public speaking, getting on the stage, facing the audience, holding the mic, work on that. That's the basic thing. Then level by level, start building yourself and push yourself. So it's not easy to get into the fire. It's definitely painful, but are you ready to bear the pain? So initially, when I would go on stage, I would fumble, do mistakes, do errors. There were times in my school, I remember I went on stage and I was blank. I forgot my lines. I was a total failure. So there were multiple failures that actually I went through. But then eventually I came to know that, okay, this is how things move around. So when we talk about golden personality, we talk about how you're going to communicate. It's not just, see, public speaking is one, but then how do you communicate also matters. You may not be on stage, but you may be in one on one with somebody in conversation. How do you talk? If you want to improve your English as a language, or you want to get a communication command on a certain language, not just English but any language, could be Hindi, could be Marathi, could be Gujarati, how do you do that? Do you go extra mile? Do you read one extra book? Do you spend extra 10 minutes for a tutorial? So in golden personality, we talk about uncoating, layers by layers, and going deep down to get that golden luster. And as gold is very expensive and it is not affordable for all, so if one needs to upgrade their value to buy that kind of personality. It's not, we are not buying the personality, but you have to have the value within yourself to get into that golden frame.
Right. Interesting. Very interesting concept there. Uh, One of the challenge with students today, as you know, Umme Kulsum, is where people get into comparison, right? The students are being compared every single day by their teachers, by their students. So how do they handle this comparison, and how do they still evolve and then become better versions of themselves?
A great question to ask, Sweta, because I know that
All right, for people who are watching us, I think Umme Kulsum should be back in a moment. There are always technical glitches, and I think this is how technology is. We face a lot of technical glitches, but yes, of course, we continue, right? And yeah, of course, there are certain challenges, and I think she should be back again. But I think very interesting thing that Umme Kulsum brought about is how do you build a golden personality, right? It is like gold, as she said. You have to go through that grind, right? If you have to become gold, you have to go through that grind. And when you go through that grind, when you go through that failures, right, and that is what will help you to build it as stepping stones, stepping stones, stepping stones. Because nobody becomes successful in a day or so. It is your character that you build. It is what you actually build of yourself in terms of your mental strength, in terms of your physical strength. That is what actually helps you to keep building on top of it and develop a golden personality. Because I think this is very important for all of us to build that personality, right? A lot of people look for success, but the challenge is they don't understand that success would come through a lot of failures. People talk about success, but they are not ready to go through that process. They're not ready to go through that grind. And that is where the personality building comes. That is where the character building comes. And if we are able to create that right from the age when students are still building their character, if we are able to do that, their foundation, if we are able to build it strong, I think that will help us. Because I still recall my childhood days when I was a student. There were a lot of comparison out there in the world, and there were a lot of definitions out there in the world. And what had happened was, on one side, I was focusing on my education, right, my studies, but the other side, I was going through a lot of this comparison. I was going through this definitions of the world where people had different definitions of beauty. One of the biggest definition of beauty for me was black is ugly. And that, when it went into my mind, and when I accepted the definition that came from people, I was not able to excel in my education. Here, this is about personality and this is about education. I'm a good student, but still I'm not able to grow. I'm not able to excel in my education. What was the reason? Was it that I was not able to grab what was happening there? Was it was not able to like learn and I was not able to pick up things? No, but the personality that I had, whatever was going on in my mind, started affecting my examinations, my results, my academics. And that is what happens with a lot of students. And when we don't work on the foundation, then it actually continues. It continues to an extent where people get into job or start their business and still they have these challenges. And I had this low self image issue for a very long time. I got into some of the good companies there, big IT companies, big MNCs. But then I realized I was still playing low. I was not playing to my fullest. It was because I had not worked on my personality. I had not worked on my foundation. So it is very important for us to work on the foundation. And if we are able to do that when students are at an early age, I think that will help them to excel. It's just like any other foundation. If you look at the all those high-rise buildings today, right? What if the foundation is not strong? Can they go multi-floors? No. And if you take them multi-floors, they will one day crash because foundation is not strong. Same happens with students, right? When the foundation is not strong, when they have not worked on their personality, right, they might still score good marks, but then over a period of time you suddenly see some students crash, right? Sometimes in their education academics, And sometimes they might go through this stage, but when it comes to career, when it comes to job or business, that's where people crash. And then people struggle to understand, hey, what happened suddenly? What happened with this student? Why did he fail? Right? What happened with this person? Why is he not able to grow in career? Yeah, Ume, I think you are back.
Yeah, I don't know how I was knocked out.
Internet, I
Okay.
think technology has its own challenges at times, right? And that is perfectly
Right.
fine. I think these are the lessons we keep learning in life, right? Experiences. So
Right.
yeah, we were talking about comparison that happens today, right? And a lot of comparison which is not helping kids to actually work on their personality, and they being compared by their teachers, by parents. How do they handle this particular thing?
Right. So once if the child realizes that this comparison is completely, please walk towards collaboration rather than competition, because parents feel competition is the best way to get their child perform better. But that happens to one, or let's say one amongst 40 students, three, four, five people amongst 100. But what about the other 95, 94, 93 students? What happens to them, 96 students? They suffer drastically. So, parents and stakeholders should definitely think about it, that stop this comparison, because it's not doing much good to the children, and they develop inferiority complex as they grow. And to students, I would say, if you want to, if you realize that this is an unnatural a comparison, then just accept it, that okay, this is, if somebody's comparing you, stop and say, this doesn't apply to me. I have been doing that. If somebody compares me, I say, okay, this doesn't apply to me anymore. I am complete in myself. You have to understand, you should be happy with yourself, rather than the world telling you how you are supposed to be. I mean, fine, there is a level of guidance. Before this show, had a session, counseling session with one of the parent. So I told that parent, why do you want to fill a paper bag with gilli mitti? Why do you want to do that? What's going to happen, because the child has its own capacity. So instead of telling the child that, look your neighbor, look your cousin, look your brother, look your sister, tell the child, beta, do your best to the optimum capacity, to your optimum capacity, to your optimum potential. Put in your 100%. And for students, I would just say one thing. Look, stop this comparison. There will be somebody ahead of you. Even if you are going to be number one in your school, there are lakhs and crores of school across the globe. So there will be a point in time in your life, somebody is going to be above you. Okay. So the comparison, when we talk, Fatah, I think it should be for everybody. It's not just students. Even parents should understand. I was just telling this parent, if your daughter will top in her school, just remove the statistic till our next session. India में कितने schools हैं? ग्लोबली कितने स्कूल्स हैं? हर बच्चा टॉप करेगा कहीं ना कहीं से। तब भी वो बच्चा कहीं compete करेगा ना, तो वो 110th नंबर पे ही होगा, कहीं ना कहीं, somewhere it will be like that. So you have to accept it, yaar. Come on, stop this comparison. Let yourself be happy in your skin, as long as you are putting in 100%. And there was this very beautiful question asked by one of my student. He asked me, ma'am, pata kaise chalega hum 100% hai? So I will tell you that also. It's very simple to know how you whether you're 100% or no. One, you set your goals and try and push yourself to get towards your goal. If you don't reach your goal in this scheduled time, give yourself some more time to reach your goal. And as long as you're doing and you're going halfway or more than halfway, you're giving your 100%. It doesn't matter even if you don't reach. So I generally use this, I tell my students, I set goals for myself. I don't reach in 2022, I'll work for it in 2023, 2024. I'll work for it as long as I'm living. I'll work for it, I'll not give up. So that's my 100%, isn't it? That's my 100%.
Right, absolutely. I think that is something that people should understand. Become the best version and give your 100% rather than getting into comparison, right? And around this, also you have been talking about in social media about how you can accept yourself and have that happiness of being you and completely looking at yourself. So how do people like accept themselves and just focus on themselves and be the best version of themselves?
By focusing on all the things they are blessed with, by focusing on all the abilities they are blessed with, by focusing on all the achievements they are blessed with. Simple. Why do we become unhappy? Is because we don't look into our plate. We look into the plate of Bajuwala. Right? We want
Right.
to see what others are having. Okay, so I drive a car which is like, okay, a comfortable car. But then if I will see the BMW, I'll say, oh, I wish. Okay, wishing is not bad. You have to grow. You have to, everybody aspires to be better. There's no harm in that, in doing that. But regretting driving my car just because I don't have BMW is, no, that's not the right attitude. The attitude is, I'm happy with what I have. So, Fatah, I was living in a different house before this. This house I've just bought recently. So, I was living in the other house. So, every day I would get up, I would go out from my bedroom, and I would say, I love this palace. I would say that. I love it. I love it. I love it. This is amazing. This place is giving me so much of relief. It's giving me so much of comfort. It's helping me grow. And look what happened. When you learn to appreciate, universe is there to just keep you blessing. And it will keep on blessing you with whatever you deserve and desire in life. So
Yeah,
that's
I
the
think
only, yeah.
that's a very beautiful message, whatever you shared, right? Having that gratitude and expressing that gratitude to universe so that universe can bless you with more and more and more rather than you getting into complaint mode and comparison. I think that is anyways not taking you anywhere, just making you feel bad about yourself, right? Go into guilt, shame, I don't know what all people get into. So I think this is a good way of doing things. Now you spoke about gratitude and many a times because of the comparison and because of again like the bullying at school, right? This also happens at schools, like
Mhm.
students get bullied, low self image issues and all. What are the ways that they can come out of it? One, of course, is gratitude, but how can they start working on themselves so that they can actually build that confidence and build a great personality?
uh, for low self image, number one, again, for the everything related to kids, when I was doing my job, I realized that everything related to children was never their own. It was always given from parents, from family, from teachers, from friends. They don't have their own. They don't have their own belief system. Okay, so if I would address to a teenager, somebody who now is rationally thinking and logically now analyzing, I would say that uh, building your self image is not a rocket science. Just look into the mirror and see yourself and tell yourself how dynamic you are. Not, don't see on things that you are not capable of. So self image gets self image issues, they come when a child is consciously being told about what he cannot do, how he's not good at things, how he's not competent enough in school. And when the self image is low, that's when, the bullies can actually manipulate these young brains, because the brain is so vulnerable at that time. The student is so vulnerable that they get bullied. And for the, as a counselor, as a psychologist, I can just tell you in one sentence, and to the audience who's listening to me, if your body gets fractured, the plaster is seen and you know that this part of your body is fractured. But when emotions get fractured, nobody can see. The
Right.
person himself will never get to know that his emotions are fractured. He would never know until one day he'll realize that what's going on, what is a mess happening, why am I, playing this victim. And if he's intelligent enough to go to a professional, things will be sorted. Otherwise, I've seen cases where people, they get saturated and they commit suicide. So it's that important. Self image is that important. Self, and who hampers the self image? People around. So when you realize that you have self image issues, and how will you realize that? You have to, one entire day, just see the pattern of your thoughts. What are you thinking? And journal it. If people are listening to me, I'm repeating it again. Understand your thoughts. What are the thoughts that is most of the time dominating on your mind? Are those thoughts negative, which is telling you what you can't do, what you can't achieve, how victim you are, how people have bullied you, how people have played in your life, and how disastrous you are? If these are the thoughts, journal it. Now, when you journal it, now you actually come to know, oh, so now I'm having self image issues because I see myself in a victim mode, right? And once you rule out that you are playing a victim mode, take the power in your control and parallelly start writing what and all do you feel about yourself. uh, it's all right to sometimes, have a say something like, I'm dynamic, I'm beautiful, I'm talented, I'm. Even if you are telling a lie, please stand in front of the mirror and tell that lie 1,000 times. Do it regularly for 21 days and see the improvement happening, because your brain does not understand between between the negative and the positive. It will just absorb what is it is receiving. So if it receives always about negativity, it will absorb that, and that becomes your self image, because that's not your own belief system, somebody else told. So when I was a kid, my father would tell me, oh, you can't go on the stage. Not because he never wanted me to, but he did not realize that he was negatively impacting me by telling this, because he wanted to see me on stage. Right? So sometimes people at good note also do. Parents, then they don't do deliberately, but they feel ऐसा करने से ना better हो जाएगा. But ऐसा नहीं होता. Not in every case.
Right. And I completely agree with you that those are not their own beliefs the students have. It's come from the society, right? Parents, friends, colleagues, a lot of these people who are surrounding them. So you also spoke about this. So how does environment play a role in their life, right? The people whom they are surrounding with, and how can they work on this if they have to actually start building some new beliefs and become
Hmm.
positive?
So, Fatah, recently I read it somewhere that, people who have emerged as warriors and who have actually grown in their life are the people who are coming from the most difficult background. Okay, because their challenges somewhere fuels the desire to outgrow from that environment. So environment actually plays a big role in life. Now there are certain things which are within our control, and there are certain things with beyond our control. Once you understand the circle of control, person can actually grow. So the circle of control is what? I can't control other people's thoughts and beliefs, but I can control my thoughts and beliefs. I can't control other people's way of thinking, actions, speech, but I can control that. Okay. So the moment you start understanding what is within your circle of control, whichever environment you are, whether, because I work with this NGO, so I know there are students. So there's this one student who comes from a family where there is a lot of physical domestic violence. Okay. And he generally tells me about the violence, and he tells me that I want to grow and become very rich. I said, why do you want to be rich? So he said, because in my house I see a lot of domestic violence because there's no money. Okay. So now this child is coming from a background where nobody has even taught him to think in that way. But see, look at him. He doesn't want to be into that environment, and so he wants to do better in life. So environment definitely plays a big role. Once you realize that people around you are the ones who are pulling you back, who are telling you what you can't do, then stop yourself from, I can't say associating, because sometimes there are people you can't help it with, but you have to associate. But then you have to understand that these are the people who will always talk about what you can't do, and try and associate with people who can say you can do. And now, if you don't have those people, get those people in your life. Keep talking to people, meet new people. You're going to coaching, you're going to school, see who talks about future, who talks about aspiration, who talks about goals, and see who's talking about leisure, who's talking about girlfriend and boyfriend, who's talking about relationship, who's talking about sex, who's talking about food, who's talking about movies, and just understand and differentiate that this is the category I don't want to be with, because they will not help me to grow. Okay. And this is the category I want to be with because they'll help me grow.
Right. I think this is very powerful. Being able to differentiate and choosing that right environment actually changes the game for these students, so that they can actually come out of whatever they are going through and build whatever dream career and success for themselves. And what role does a mentor play in students' life? Because they already have parents, they have teachers, right? But do they still need a mentor in life, and how important that is?
Extremely important. Extremely important. Today, I think, Fata, it's so important. Like, a teacher's job would be probably teaching one subject and giving some values. Okay. But the teacher will not be there throughout the journey of a child. A teacher can definitely talk about how the child is performing academically, but the teacher will definitely not be able to differentiate the child's psychological, emotional needs. Okay. A mentor, on the other hand, can bridge the gap of parent child, parent parent teacher, teacher and child. So a mentor is somebody who creates that bridge, and a mentor is somebody who will listen to the story of all the three parties. And then the mentor is somebody who will have an unbiased, unjudgmental approach. a, a parent will, they say that you can't read the book when it is too close to your eyes, right? So
Right.
parents will never be able to see. They say that we understand our child. No, they don't. They understand their needs, they understand the desires, they understand what the child should do. Of course they want to, they think for the betterment of the child, but not keeping the child's need in mind, keeping their own experiences in mind. The problem is that, okay.
Right.
But when the mentor comes in the picture, the mentor doesn't have an experience, the mentor doesn't have any when a teacher, when we talk about a teacher will always want the child to perform better, 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 even if the child is studying, like, let's say 12 hours in a day, but still she will say, no, no, you can do better. Are bhai, what better? It is again the same analogy, you can't put a wet mud in a paper bag. So a mentor is somebody who will attach themselves to the mentee, understand the journey, create a pro map, talk about the milestones, create, the pathway, and deal with parents and teachers where their inputs are required, where their experience is required, but will deal with the mentee psychologically, emotionally at the same time, because these are the two aspects which I'm telling you, 99% of people, they don't work on. They don't work on emotional intelligence and psychological aspect of a child. And now I talk a lot about national education policy. I go training teachers. So I tell them, look, the new NEP system also is talking that the child should have four major important components while they are in school for development. One is physical intelligence, one is emotional intelligence, one is spiritual intelligence, and then intelligent quotient. Then comes IQ.
Hmm.
I mean, look at the pyramid, you'll see PQ is the first thing.
Right.
So over years we have just focused on what? IQ. But I can tell you there are hundreds and lakhs of people with great IQ, but they're suffering in life.
Yeah. Absolutely. I completely agree with you. The perspective you have shown, I think, is amazing. The way parents look at things, the way teachers look at things, and then the role of a mentor. And whatever you showed the pyramid, I think it works not only for students, but also for corporate professionals. Because today it's proved that people who have IQ are still struggling even in their corporate world and corporate life. But people who have EQ can actually excel faster than people who have IQ. So that is really, I think, very critical there for people to understand, right? And you actually help students to pick up careers, right? So what are the steps you guide them to in terms of like picking up a dream career for themselves? Because again, there is a lot of information out there. Students get misguided because of the information on Google, which is on one click, right? There are teachers, there are parents, there are their friends. So how do they decide what is the right career from them for them and choose that?
Okay. So for the after so much of research, I came up with my own framework, okay, which is like aptitude, interest, and ability. Combining these three, it's a Venn diagram. The center point, the sweet spot, comes out as ideal career. But now a lot of people, they don't understand, like they don't understand between the talent, they don't understand between the interest, they don't understand between the hobby. So in between the intersection points between aptitude, interest, and ability, the intersection points, I talk about these three as well. So there are two components मिलके एक talent बनता है, like somebody who has aptitude for dance, okay, and interest also. So
Mhm.
that can't be necessarily the career, it can be only talent. Okay.
Okay.
So, like this, I created my own framework, and I would tell parents, whenever you're deciding on the career of a child, don't wait for many of them, they wait for the board exams. 10th board exam is going to approach. Parents and teachers will wait. Students will wait until they get their grades. And when they get the percentage, based on the percentage, they start thinking whether they have to take science stream, commerce stream, or humanities. Why? You have to yourself explore. A one click, please don't go on one click. From grade ninth, start exploring different options that interest you. Okay. Maybe a CA. When I was in school, I really loved. I mean, the term chartered accountant felt like kuch bahut bada hai. But when we delve deeper into it, I realize, oh, this is maths, this is number game, I can't. And more so, it has to do with sitting with those paperwork and doing the administration part.
Right.
My personality is people's personality. I'm somebody who likes to be with people. So I would recommend parents that you have to be very, very focused and keen about understanding your child's personality. So there are these very extrovert social students who come to me and they say, we like going out, we like moving to places, exploring new things. And now what are you doing? I'm doing engineering. Do you think he'll be a happy engineer sitting in front of a system or a probably machine? No, he won't. He'll be frustrated engineer.
Right.
So
And I think there are a lot of frustrated engineers out there. And at some point of time, I also realized I was a frustrated engineer. I did whatever I did, I excelled, but then I realized, hey, this is not what I want to do throughout my life. I think that's where people realize it a little later. But good that there are career counselors like you who are able to guide students, coach students, and help them with their careers. And you also talk about habits that can help students to become better and smart students, right? So what are those habits that students can start building in themselves so that they can become those smart students, like top performers, and get success?
yes, habits are very, very important. Habits make a person. Okay. So, for smart student in smart studies, I have a very specific plan for them. How do they study? Most of the time, if you will see, I actually interacted with a lot of students who would top in the class. So, top 10 performers, I would make a conscious effort to either talk to the students or talk to the parents that what is it that the child does differently, and scores. And then I got those that information, I put it on papers, I started working, and I realized that in my study that these are those students who are aware about whether they are owl or larks. Owl or larks means, are they the students who realize that I am the best in the morning hour or the best in the late night hour? They would only study for 3 hours. So I would tell these kids that, they knew their prime time to when their brain is maximum alert, and they optimize that time. And what most of the students do, they don't know. Maybe parents are not aware, or the child was never been told what is your prime time. So these kids who were scoring largely, I would say 80% of them, they knew what are they, whether they are owl or they are larks. They chose only that time to study. And hence, when I asked them, to most of them, how many hours do you study? Ma'am, 2 hours, 3 hours, that's it. And still you scored so well. Yes. And how would the others who are underperformers or maybe average performers, they would say, ma'am, we study for 7 hours. But you are not studying in the prime time. So the first smart move should be identify your prime time. When is your brain maximum alert? Second thing, meditation before you even open your notebook or you plan to study, which is, meditation doesn't mean you have to sit for half an hour in a position. It can be just 5 to 7 minutes, completely relaxing your body and each part of your body and the muscle, and making consciously an affirmation that my brain is alert to the optimum. This improves the focus. This improves immunity. You must be knowing this. It improves immunity. It improves the focus and concentration. And this is something well tried and tested by me. It is not my research. I studied like this. I studied being a mother of two kids, having my household work and my job. And then, whatever little time I got, I used to get into that prime time, do this activity, give my exam, and clear it with flying colors. So, step two is meditation. It could be 5 minutes, 7 minutes, as per the need of the child. The third one is planning your studies well in advance. So, a timetable can help any organization to work very smoothly. Let's talk about a school. A school has, let's say, a small or big, 3,000 students, and it has 100 plus teachers, and it has so many teachers moving from one class to another class. What's helping the school function so smoothly is the time. So take that lesson and put this into the practice. Time management is very integral for the students, whether they are school going, whether they are studying in college, or PG level. They need to have a set timetable to sit with the books, because your body understands the moment you, and you know, if you have a set time, your body is ready with it. Just like when we have a lunch, a body will crave for food at that time only. Around that time it will communicate, I'm hungry, right? Lunch, dinner, breakfast, by default. So the body has its own clock. So understand that. And the fourth thing here I would like to add. See, I'm missing it. What was the fourth step? Hmm. And very important, very important. Yeah. When they are studying, where are they studying also plays a very important role. Student reclining on sofa, on the bed, doesn't work, because your body communicates. What activities we do sitting on the sofa or on the bed? So the moment child sits on the bed or relaxes on the sofa, the body says rest, and then you feel sleepy. So you should have one place where you're sitting and create a pattern. All the patterns can be created in 21 days to 30 days. So within a month, the pattern will be created. Once the pattern is created, you're sorted, right? Then learning should not happen just right before the exam. It should happen on the day of completion of that chapter. Whether you just read it, but do it that very day, because our brain is designed in such a way that information once taken will slowly move out from your memory and it will go out of your mind. But when the information is taken on a particular day, you read it, now the information is pushed to the short term memory, and then you reread it after 2 to 3 days, it is pushed into the long term memory, right? Very simple way of a smart student preparing for studies. Relate the chapters or the content that you study with your real life. Look around how you can get the concept with more clarity through the things around. So I would say, like perimeter square or trigonometry. Trigonometry can be very well done through mandala art. So if art is your language, get your brain stimulation completely. Like, music is the way how one can learn, art is the way how one can learn. So you have to understand your learning style also at the same time. Many kids suffer because they don't know. Till they graduate, also, they don't know what was the learning style. I would ask you, Fatah, what was your learning style?
I don't recall. I think I just randomly was learning, reading, studying. Yeah.
Okay. So you were random. So most of the students are random, okay? But those who are known to the learning style, whether they are good learner, auditory learner, or visual learner, or kinesthetic learner, so the moment you realize your learning style, learning becomes fun, and it definitely adds credits and advantage to the result. Learning should more it's parents who actually make learning as a punishment, because when the kid is young na, they say, you have listened to me and you follow my instructions, tomorrow I'll not send you to school. Now what are you doing? You're putting school as a punishment and reward. Okay, not going to school is a reward and going to school is a punishment. So what a child is processing here is, school is so pathetic and so boring, and God knows why I have to go. So the child is
Mm.
processing that information and going ahead, and that grows with time. So I think parents should also understand the responsibility that the school should be fun, and the academic content also should be fun, but that fun can only come out once you realize what is the learning style of your child.
Right. So amazing. I think 7 tips that people can take it from here, especially the students can take it so that they can become those smart students. I think overall, throughout the episode, I think you covered a lot of concepts about how students can build a strong character and a great personality, which you call it as golden personality, how they can actually look at their environment, change things for themselves, how they can actually become smart students. I think it was a very well done episode where you have covered a lot of concepts. So thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience, which has come from over a decade you working with students in this particular field. So before we conclude this particular episode, do you have any message that you want to give to the students?
Be yourself and believe in yourself. That's all. That's all. Doesn't matter whether you're a 50 percenter or a 90 percenter, because at the end of the day, we have so many role models who were 50 percenter, but because of the confidence, mindset, they could actually hire people who were 90 percenter. Okay, so it's not only the academic that matters, your overall personality will matter to your in your future career or job that you do. So work on overall personality, not just the academic.
Absolutely. I think that's a wonderful message again. I think all the students who are listening or parents who are going to listen to this, one thing is just don't focus on the academics of the students. It is always about building that personality. And if a student can build a golden personality, as Ume says, then you can become successful not only in your academics, but also you can excel in your career in future and then build your dream career and have a great life. So thank you everyone for watching us, and thank you Ume for being here and sharing your wonderful knowledge and experience with us.
Thank you, Fateh. Thank you for calling. It was a pleasure talking over here.
Same here. Thank you. All right. And people who are looking to connect with Ume, she is available on different social media channels. Predominantly, she is on Facebook. Right, Ume? You are on Facebook. People can
Right.
connect with you. So, yes, people
Yes.
can connect with her with Ume Kulsum. Her full name is Ume Kulsum Lokhandwala. So, you can search for her in Facebook and get connected if you are looking for your student, for your kids, or any students who wants to actually excel and build a golden personality. So, thank you once again, Ume, and thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.